Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Ball Does Lie podcast. I'm your host, Brendan, along with my co host, Amir. We got a lot to talk about here, Amir. A lot happening out east. Trae Young is back. And the Hawks are on a bit of a interesting kind of stretch of their schedule. Had pretty thrilling game with the Hornets last night. And Trae looked okay. I think they're ramping him back up. Played about 20 minutes. Had some interesting lineups, and him and Jalen Johnson sharing the floor. Just wanted to get your take on Trae and kind of your initial impressions of his return from injury.
I mean, I'm not a big Trey fan, honestly. I just think he's one of the worst defenders in the NBA. He's so small, but he does make up for it, obviously, on the offensive end. Like, he can't be your number one option on a winning team. And yeah, he took the Hawks like 10 years ago to the Eastern Conference Finals. He had that great run, but he needs to be the number two option on a team. He might become that number two option if he still stays on this team with Jalen Johnson. But
He kind of looked like it last night, I gotta say.
he for sure did. But he only played 20 minutes. He missed like 6 weeks of basketball. He hasn't played since like
Yeah.
October. So of course you're going to be a little bit rusty, but the offense looked more organized with him there. He gives you structure. Again, he's a offensive system, someone who can give you like 25, 28 points per game, 10 to 12 assists per game. Like, he does impact the game, obviously, on the offensive end, but his defense is just so atrocious. But he can't lead a team, in my opinion. So I don't see the team building around him per se. I see them possibly transitioning away from him. But that doesn't mean they have to trade him necessarily. But the only big issue is he's going to want a max contract. Like, are they willing to do that? Like, can you build a team by giving him that max contract? Who is going to be that third option if Jalen does dethrone him as the top dog on the team? And then you have Trae. They still need a third piece. Porzingis is always hurt. He's not going to be a part of their future, I don't think. So his return, I think, raises the floor for the
The
team, but
floor
I
here.
don't,
Yeah.
I don't think they have a high ceiling in general. So I think they need to make another big move and put him as the number two or number three. Even if he's a number three on a team, that's a damn good
Oh, that's
team.
a luxury. Yeah, that is
You
an
know what I
absolute
mean?
luxury. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like you said, we saw him carry the Hawks to a conference finals run. A little fluky, being, the 76ers were going through the whole Ben Simmons debacle, kind of the end of his stardom. But
Yeah.
I think it's clear Jalen Johnson is the number one guy in Atlanta. He is just a triple double waiting to happen every night. I think they run all their offense through Jalen. Now, they did have a couple really interesting Trae and Jalen pick and rolls that I thought were pretty difficult to guard. So I'd like to see a larger sample size of that and maybe evaluate how they could play together with that type of offense. Because Trae is just such a good pick and roll player. And then if you're able to
One of the
just
best.
have
Yeah.
Jalen Johnson on a slip screen and you're letting him play basically 3-on-2, 4-on-3, I mean, that's a pretty good recipe for an efficient offense. Um, but I think the Hawks have some really interesting pieces. Na looked really great last night as well against the Hornets. Now, again, it's the Hornets, but he's still a guy that can fill it up for you, give you 20 to 25 points, play some pretty good defense as well. And you mentioned making a huge move for the Hawks. I think they could package some of these pieces, maybe Risa Shea, Na, or Trae, whoever you want to throw in there, and they I think could make a run at Giannis. Do you see the Hawks as a potential suitor for Giannis, and do you think that might actually make them a legitimate contender
Would they
if
trade
they're able
Trey?
to
You
pair
said.
Jalen? Yeah, I
So
think Trae needs to probably. I think Trae needs to be involved just to even make the contracts close to matching. I think you have to have Trae in that. You could probably give him the New Orleans pick,
they,
which I think we'll talk about the Pelicans a little bit later, but I think that Pelicans pick is, if you want to trade it, I think you got to trade it now, because I'm not sure how much longer it's gonna be as good of a pick, because the Pelicans look pretty good. Sorry, not to sidetrack too much, but do you see any kind of potential package that the Hawks can put together for someone like Giannis?
no, but also the Pelicans they have 6 wins. They freaking look good. Look at this.
I'm telling you, bro, they have a ton of talent. I don't want to go too far off here, but I
I'm
think
just
I
saying.
think
I
the
just
I
had to
think
bring
the
that up.
Pelicans could be pretty good.
I just had to bring that up. You're talking about a
Just
six-win
saying.
team.
I'm
It
just
doesn't
saying.
matter. if it doesn't lead to winning, it doesn't mean shit, in my opinion. But anyway,
It does.
no,
That's why I trade the pick now while they still only have those 6 wins.
they're still gonna suck forever. They're the Pelicans. Anyway, kind of like your team, we all know that
We don't need to
organization is
talk
not
about the
great either.
Kings.
But I don't think you do it. I don't think you make the trade unless you keep Trae and Jalen. What's the point if you bring in Giannis and you trade away Trae and then Nikhil Alexander or whoever else like Dyson Daniels, they're gonna want everybody for Giannis, right? Risha Shea is cool, but he's a bust. That guy's a bust in my opinion. He's not worthy of winning.
I think there's still time for Risa Shea. I mean, he didn't.
Sure, I'm not saying
I think
he's a
there's still
bona
some
fide
time.
bust. Speaking of bust, Pelicans, going back to your Pelicans thought, Zion is an absolute bust because he can't stay healthy. But anyway,
No, he sure can't.
another topic for another day. But I just don't think you bring in Giannis because you're not going to be a competitor. I don't think you're not going to compete at least this season if you bring him in, and that's going to take away from the growth of Jalen Johnson. Like, how are they going to fit together? I guess I don't know. Do you see them as a good combination together? What are your
I
thoughts
do.
on that?
I think Giannis and Jalen could be a pretty interesting duo. Now, of course, you're going to have to fill the roster out somehow because, as you mentioned, the Bucks are going to want everything, including your picks. But I think Jalen and Giannis could actually work pretty well. Jalen's a really great facilitator. I think he's someone that is a great decision maker, good pick and roll player too, and someone that can at least space the floor a little bit for Giannis. So I think there's a world where I see Giannis and Jalen. I could see them for sure being near the top of the East, especially this season. There's no clear winner right now or clear dog. Maybe the Knicks. The Knicks again look really great, especially after their cup victory. But the East is so wide open. If you have the chance to get Giannis and you're the Hawks and you can keep Jalen Johnson, I think absolutely that for sure raises your ceiling and I think makes you a pretty instant contender in that conference.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because no one's really going to come there through free agency. It's not like a bad market, or a bad
Oh, not at all.
team, but
Not at
still,
all.
no one's going to really go to the Hawks. I could see that. Like, you're not okay. I mean, it makes sense because you have Jalen and Giannis try to build some chemistry over the next season and a half. Giannis will still be 31 next year, 32 the year after that. So then you start accumulating pieces around them, see if that chemistry works between the two of them. And Giannis is so dominant; he's an MVP caliber type player every season. He's automatically going to leapfrog the Hawks from 10th to like top 6. You know what I mean? At worst,
Yeah.
at worst. So, but it's just like you're going to have to gut the roster. So you're not going to really be able to compete this season, maybe not even next. So does it make sense for them to add talent like Giannis to build for a season and a half from now or 2 seasons and then just try to figure it out? Because obviously when you get Giannis on your roster, then that's where you can bring in the other pieces, right? That's where you can trade.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Pelicans pick is huge. I mean, if you add Trae Young, then I mean, hopefully then you don't have to theoretically give up as much. Like you'd probably give up him, the Risha and maybe not a Kongwu type piece. But if you want to keep Trae, then you're going to lose the depth. But then I think it's a little bit easier to figure that out, I guess. Because then if you don't include Trae, then you're trading everybody. You're trading Kristaps, Dyson, Risha Okongwu, whatever.
Kennard probably too. Anyone and
Bernard,
everybody.
all the picks, any like just I don't know. I think I like that
But I
trio.
think if you do, I think getting rid of Trae isn't as detrimental just because of how good Jalen Johnson has been and how much he can just carry the offensive load that I think Trae was carrying for that team. It's an interesting thought for sure, and I think if you're a team in the East, if you can grab Giannis, like your Heat, do whatever you can and just try to grab them.
Figure it out later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, that's all we got for you guys today, though. But thank you, Amir. Appreciate your
Yep.
time. And appreciate you all for watching. If you do like the content, please make sure to like and subscribe. Amir and I will be back soon with another segment here. Thank you all.